This is my friend Reese, and I've made him a Wonderkid goalkeeper in Football Manager, but all his attributes are currently set to 1 out of 20. So we're going to use a random number generator to decide what his attributes will be, starting with aerial reach, which is going to be 18. That is really top. Once we set all his attributes, we're going to follow his career from start to finish. Command of area then, that is going to be 14. Bro is only 16 years old, and yet his attributes are already shaping up to be something like Manuel Neuer. And that's really good, because we want to find out how many trophies he's going to win across his career, and if he could even claim the Yashin trophy. So what about his communication then? That is going to be, only a 2. I feel like he's been let down a little bit here now. Next up, eccentricity. Now we want this to be as low as possible. We do not want an eccentric goalkeeper that's going to start doing scorpion kicks on the edge of his penalty area. We want someone sensible, but it's a 10, straight down the middle. It's not the worst in the world. Okay, first touch then, that is going to be 15, so if the ball gets played back into him, he's absolutely perfect. He's cool as a cucumber. What about his handling then? That's 19! Reese is getting so lucky with these rolls right now. Surely it's all got to come crashing down at some point, and will it come crashing down with kicking? I mean, kicking is only a 12, but that's still very good for a 16-year-old goalkeeper here. One-on-ones is a 19. What is going on here? This just feels so unfair right now. I wanted Reese to have really rubbish attributes, if I'm honest with you, but he's turning out to be pretty good. His passing is now up to 11 as well. Punching tendency is an 8, so he doesn't really come out to punch the ball often. How are his reflexes? Please tell me that I feel like a cat at 18. What is going on here? What is his tendency to rush out then? A 9. Okay, that's a little low, but still, you know, it's not a bad thing. And his throwing is a 6, right? He can't throw a ball, but that's literally kind of like the only bad thing about his goalkeeping attributes here. This man is incredible. Already. We're going to move on to the 3 technical attributes that are included in a goalkeeper's profile. That's free kick taking, which is going to be an 8. So, I mean, he won't be taking any free kicks. What about penalties, though? Please be 20. It's only a 7. That's so annoying. Why couldn't he be given the 19 handling on his penalty taking? That would be so funny. 5 for technique as well, which actually is pretty poor. So we'll see how that affects Reese's career. Moving on to the mental attributes then. Aggression is a 9. He's pretty timid then. He's not too fussed about getting in someone's face. He's got a 6 for anticipation. Now that's quite important actually. A goalkeeper really does need some anticipation. They also need bravery to be able to rush out and get to the feet of players kicking the ball. And he's only got a 5 for bravery, so that might let him down a little bit. Composure is huge. Composure is so important for a goalkeeper. And that's a 3. Why are all the low numbers coming now? Why couldn't we have low numbers for some of his goalkeeping attributes here? Concentration is pretty important. That's a 15. Okay, so he will stay focused in the game. His decision making is a 5. So actually, he won't be making the smartest decisions on the pitch. If he's got to roll the ball out, he might try and kick it long instead. You don't know. Determination is huge for how well a player develops. And that's 18, so he's very determined to reach the highest levels of his game. His flair, will he be doing rainbow flicks? The answer is maybe, because it's a 15 out of 20. Incredible. Leadership, can he be a good captain? He can. He's 17. Why is Reese so good? Off the ball is 12. I'm not quite sure how much that affects a goalkeeper, if I'm honest with you. Positioning, very important for a goalkeeper, and that's only a 5, so he might be stood in the wrong place quite often. What about his teamwork? That's an 18. Of course it's an 18. He just is a team player. He loves the team. His vision is a 1 though, so we don't change that. That stays as a 1. His work rate then is going to be a 16. He just loves working hard apparently. And moving on to the physicals, this is very important for goalkeepers, of course. A 7 on acceleration, so he's not very quick off his line. Agility, though, is 20. Oh, that's sickening to see. I really want Reese to be rubbish, if I'm honest with you. Balance is going to be an 8 here, so, okay, he may be fairly agile, but he can't stand on one leg. Jumping reach, now this is really important for a goalkeeper. And his is 16, as well as 18 aerial reach, 60. He's going to claim every single ball from a corner, easily. Natural fitness is 15. I don't think that really matters to a goalkeeper too much. His pace is a 14. So actually, once he does get going, he can run fast, but he won't be able to get to that pace very quickly because he's only going to run from his goal line to the edge of his penalty area, really. Stamina is not too important for a keeper. That's an 8. And finally, his strength. His strength is a 5, so he's He's not on the weights much, really. Let's move on to his height, and the random number generator has the chance to do the funniest thing here. In Football Manager, height goes from 150 centimeters to 212 centimeters. Please be small. Please be small. 153 centimeters. Can he reach the posts? Can he reach the crossbar? I cannot wait to see what he looks like in the match engine. That's going to be hilarious. We're also going to set his weight. That's from 50 kilos up to 120 kilos, and it's 95 kilos. So his body mass index is off the charts. So that gives Reece a current ability of 109 out of 200, which feels a bit low given how good his goalkeeping attributes are, but I suppose those mentals, which are quite low, are keeping that down. We are now going to set his potential ability between 110 and 200. So the random number generator is giving us 156, which feels a bit on the low side, but actually that would make him an elite goalkeeper. But the big question is, what club is he going to start at? There are 92 clubs in the English Football League, so the random number generator is set from 1 to 92, and it gives us 81. So Carlisle United are 92, 91, 90, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is Fleetwood Town, the 81st team in the Football League. With a current ability of 109, Reece is good enough to start for Fleetwood at just 16 years old. And he makes some outrageously good stops. He tips shots behind for corners, and he gets down low to make incredible saves from powerful headers. But his lack of height may have contributed to some of the goals he did concede. But this didn't stop Brentford from getting interested, and on deadline day in January, Reece signed a contract worth almost £11,000 a week at the Premier League club. This led to Reece's first cap for Wales, and the proud Welshman put in a man-of-the-match performance on his debut to help defeat Ecuador 1-0. The second part of his season was spent in Brentford's youth team, so he's seen a modest increase to 114 current ability, as his communication, throwing and stamina have improved. More of his focus seems to have gone into dropping 45 kilos in just one season. Reece goes on loan to League One Charlton Athletic in Season 2, quickly becoming a fan favourite with his ability to save penalties. But there are moments where things don't quite go to plan, leaving some questioning if Reece really can become the world-class goalkeeper he's built up to be in the future. In 38 matches, he conceded 47 goals at Charlton as they finished 7th in the table and just miss out on the playoffs. But his current ability is now up to 127, and he's become Wales's #1 choice keeper, with 7 caps to his name now. In Season 3, Reece is on loan at Watford in the Championship and keeps 17 clean sheets in 45 matches as they finish 10th. But there were also matches where Reece faced 1 shot and conceded 1 goal, or could only push the ball back into the danger zone and then concede, so there is still plenty for him to learn. But a season of Championship exposure has done wonders for Reece, as he's had a big boost in some key areas like positioning and communication, which has seen his current ability rise to 142, meaning he's more than ready for the Premier League and the World Cup. Reece did limit Morocco and the USA to just 1 goal each in the group stage, as Wales drew with both of them before beating New Zealand to reach the knockouts. But Wales fell to Ireland in the second round, to a goal that many said Reece should have done better for. The 2026 World Cup is also the only World Cup in this video that Wales end up qualifying for. But he comes back from the USA ready to become Brentford's #1, which was apparently an easy decision for manager Eddie Howe to make, who started Reece 35 times in the Premier League. A highlight in particular was keeping a clean sheet away at Man City. However, Reece did concede 50 goals in the Premier League, which shows he still has some way to go, but for the most part, he did impress, as he won November's Premier League Young Player of the Month and helped Brentford secure a 10th place finish, missing out on European football by just a single point. A slight increase in his attributes like aerial reach and throwing has seen a small increase to his 148 current ability. So things are going pretty well for Reece right now, but Season 5 turns out to be a disaster. Defensively, Brentford weren't much worse than they were in the previous season, and Reece only conceded 7 more goals across the campaign. He also did earn Brentford points on his own by making some superb saves. But going forwards, Brentford were terrible, and as a result, the team lost a lot of matches by a single goal, which had dramatic consequences. Brentford have been relegated by a single point. Interestingly, Reece's current ability didn't improve across the entire season, but at 21 years old, I think it's impossible that he has stopped developing. It was just a bad season for him. As we've seen, playing regularly does wonders for a young player's current ability when they play lots of games when they're young. But they also have to be playing really well in those games to improve their current ability, and this season Reece's low average ratings might be the reason he hasn't improved that current ability. But he might next season, should he make a move to Newcastle or West Ham United. And he does actually ask to leave Brentford in the summer. Based on current ability, Reece is the joint 32nd best keeper in the database at this point, so it would be natural for a big club to want him. However, a poor European Championships where Wales got knocked out in the group stage may have put some clubs off. Because as we get to deadline day, Brighton and West Ham can't afford him, whereas Luton are looking at other targets. So in the end, Reece doesn't leave. He stays with Brentford in the Championship. Maybe his lack of height genuinely does put off some in-game scouts. Reece did a good job though, as he kept 14 clean sheets in 45 starts and helped Brentford make the playoffs in 5th place. In the playoffs, he did concede twice away at Preston North End, but luckily for him, his side scored 3 times to win 3-2 on aggregate. In the final though, he conceded again as Sheffield United scored just before half-time. Thankfully for Reece though, Brentford scored twice themselves to make it 2-1 heading into the final moments of the game. In the 88th minute, Reece crucially claimed the high ball to stop Sheffield United's attack and help win the match 2-1 to get the team back to the Premier League. Again, there is no change in Reece's current ability, likely because his current ability is way higher than the average Championship player. To improve, he has to play frequently in the Premier League, whether that be at Brentford or at any of the interested clubs looking to sign him this summer. But once again, a move didn't materialise for Reece, and once again, it's a poor season for Brentford, who didn't make good signings and leave Reece vulnerable at the back. This season, Brentford lost 8 games 1-0, and as a result, they are once again relegated from the Premier League. Despite the poor club season, Reece has improved slightly to 151 current ability, which is way too high to be in the Championship. So Reece decided that he had to make a positive change in his life. He subscribed to the TomFM YouTube channel, and after that, nothing was the same again. Over summer, Manchester United signed Reece for just £34 million to become their first choice goalkeeper, and Reece had his best season yet, conceding 25 goals in 37 games and keeping 19 clean sheets. And this helped Manchester United win the Premier League title by 8 points for Reece's first trophy. The following season, he does even better, keeping 21 clean sheets and conceding just 20 goals in 38 games. And as a result, United win back-to-back titles thanks to Reece's efforts. But he did concede twice in the FA Cup final, which allowed Liverpool to win. Although he is a Liverpool fan in real life, so he may have been match fixing a little bit there. Reece did manage to win 2 individual awards though. He claims the FIFA Best Men's Goalkeeper Award for 2031 and the Yashin Trophy for the 2031-32 season. That is incredible. Reece's 10th season as a footballer isn't quite as convincing, as he concedes 29 goals and only keeps 17 clean sheets. Incredible stuff, but it's still his worst return for United. He also fails to stop 2 shots in the FA Cup final as Arsenal beat United 2-1. It's not all doom and gloom though. Despite the reduced efficiency, Reece still helps United to win the Premier League title by an even bigger margin than last season, as he keeps the most clean sheets in the league as well. And as a result, he wins a second FIFA Best Goalkeeper award in 2032, but only comes third in the 2032-33 Yashin award. Not that it matters to him though, he has now reached his full potential of 156. His communication has increased by 10, throwing by 6, as well as his positioning and decision making by 7. Interestingly though, he has gone down 1 in his handling and reflexes. Based on current ability, this makes him the joint 17th best goalkeeper in the database. Encouraged by this, Reece has his best season yet, keeping 22 clean sheets and conceding 20 in 38 games. And as a result, United claimed their 4th league title in a row in an invincible season, at least in the Premier League. United are denied a domestic treble as they lose 1-0 in the League Cup final to Chelsea and 2-1 in the FA Cup final to Liverpool for the second time. And there is a reason we haven't spoken about the Champions League yet. It's because Manchester United have not made it past the round of 16 since Reece joined the club in 2030. And now, there is another thing for Reece to worry about. Alfredo Silveira is a 20-year-old goalkeeper, and whilst he isn't as good as Reece just yet, his potential ability is 174. As soon as he overtakes Reece in current ability, it is curtains for Reece at United. But he has just been announced as the 2033-34 Yashin Trophy winner, so there's a chance he might keep his spot ahead of the young upstart. For now. In season 12, Reece replicates his form from last season, once again keeping 22 clean sheets and conceding just 1 more goal. And finally, Reece keeps a clean sheet in the FA Cup final as United at last collect winners' medals as they beat Man City 3-0. It's just a shame Reece bottled the League Cup final, again conceding in the 91st minute. However, he only actually played in the Cup finals. All the rounds prior to that were played by the young goalkeeper. And despite keeping the most clean sheets in the league, Wolves came out of nowhere to snatch the title away from United. So although Reece did end up winning a trophy, cracks are starting to appear. And before those cracks turn into ravines, Reece has to make a change. So in January the following season, after making 0 starts for United, he makes a £72 million move to Rennes in France. And you would be forgiven for thinking that is a really strange move. Yes, he isn't starting for Manchester United anymore, but he is still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Surely he should go to one of the best teams in the world. Well, the thing is, Rennes have won 3 of the last 4 Champions Leagues. So arguably, they are the best team in the world right now. So Reece has fallen on his feet. After keeping 8 clean sheets in 15 starts in the second half of the season, conceding just 9 goals, Reece helps Rennes claim their 5th Ligue 1 title, as well as winning the Coupe de France in a 3-1 victory against Marseille. And they also have a shot at the Champions League, as Reece needs to keep Inter Milan at bay. Reece did a great job of tipping saves behind and pushing the ball onto the crossbar from distance, but he couldn't hold out forever as Inter Milan scored 1 goal, which was enough to defeat Reece and Rennes. The loss affected Reece the following season, as he had his worst performance since his final campaign with Brentford. He could only keep 7 clean sheets in 28 games and conceded 30 goals. This was still somehow enough to lift the title ahead of PSG, but they lost early in the cup and were once again defeated by Inter Milan in the Champions League semi-finals. So Reece knows he has to improve. And in season 15, he keeps 16 clean sheets and concedes 27 goals in 32 games, which is a big improvement on last time out. But despite that, Lille do enough to topple Rennes' dominance in Ligue 1, and Inter Milan defeat them for a 3rd season in a row in the Champions League. Has Reece joined Rennes at the wrong time, or was Reece just the wrong signing for Rennes? In season 16, he actually ends up conceding more goals and keeping less clean sheets than the previous season. But luckily for him, the Rennes strike force were in way better form as they end up winning the title on goal difference. So this could suggest that Reece was the wrong signing for Rennes. It looks like the attackers have dug him out of a hole here. But in season 17, he is much stronger and is a much bigger part of Rennes' success as he claims a 4th Ligue 1 trophy at the club. But domestic success doesn't equate to European success. Rennes faltered in the Champions League again, losing to Liverpool in the round of 16. It's the last trophy Reece needs to win, and at 33 years old, with 1 year left on his contract, there really isn't much time for him to do it. Motivated by this, Reece pulls off arguably the greatest season of his career. In 29 Ligue 1 starts, he keeps 18 clean sheets and concedes just 16 goals to win a historic 5th Ligue 1 title at the club. And this form continued into the Champions League, where Rennes have made it back to the final for the first time in 6 seasons. Across the entire 90 minutes, Barcelona had just 1 shot on target, and Reece did his job making the save. As a result, Rennes' single goal means just one thing. Reece has finally won a Champions League to add to his immense trophy haul from his career, just in the nick of time as well. At 34 years old, Rees's current ability is now starting to drop. He did sign a 1-year contract extension at Rennes for season 19 and demonstrates he is still a world-class goalkeeper. So he claims his 6th Ligue 1 title in his final season at the club because he is leaving at the end of his contract. Not a bad spell at all for Rees in France. For the twilight of his career, Rees accepts a 2-year, £725,000 per week deal at Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. Even the strongest-willed person could not turn down that sort of money. However, I didn't download a Saudi Arabian database, so we cannot see any games that he played in or actually find out if he won the title. But in his second season, he did win the AFC Champions League for the final major trophy of his career. Because after that, Rees retired at the end of a very successful 21-season career. 6 Ligue 1 titles, 4 Premier League titles, 2 Yashin trophies, 2 FIFA The Best awards, and 2 Champions Leagues from 2 different continents. He also becomes the most capped Welsh international footballer of all time with 171 appearances, 90% of which were friendlies and qualifying matches, because this Welsh team were not particularly good in this database and they only made a handful of international tournaments where they just lost in the group stage. There is one huge takeaway from this video though. Whatever she says, size does not matter. Rees has been 5'0" for his entire career and yet has ended up being arguably one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time. And yet some of you lot are going crazy that weight won't be displayed in FM25. There are bigger problems. We've used a random number generator on another one of my friends, Ethan. He ended up being a winger and had a very impressive career as well. But was his career more successful than Rees's? To find out, that video is on screen for you right now. Go check it out and let me know who you think had the better career.